Hi, good day. Today we're going to talk about variation. And what is variation? It is a relationship between two variables in such a way that as one quantity increases or decreases, the other quantity also increases or decreases in a definite way. So it shows how one variable affects the other variable. How does a variable affect the other variable or the rest of the variables? This lesson video will focus only on direct variation. And at the end of this lesson, you are expected to, letter A, recognize relationships between the two quantities that involve direct variations, and letter B, translate statements that involve direct variation to 1. Table of values, 2. Mathematical equation, 3. Graph, and vice versa. Okay, let's get into it. What is direct variation? It is defined as the relationship between two variables where one variable is directly proportional to the other variable. It means that there are two variables that are directly proportional. And what do we mean by directly proportional? It means that the two variables have the same direction. As one variable increases, the other variable also increases. On the other hand, as one variable decreases, the other variable also decreases. So, parehas yung direction nila. Kung pataas yung isang variable, pataas din yung isang variable. Pwede rin naman na kung pababa yung isang variable, pababa rin yung isang variable. Parehas ang direction ng values. Yan yung tinatawag nating directly proportional. I hope you're getting the concept. So this is the general form of its equation. X and Y are the variables, and K stands for the constant term. And the constant term is a quantity whose value does not change. The constant term in a variation is the fixed value, considering of course the specified values of X and Y. An example of this is any real number. So for example, 2. Also, we have pi. Pi is considered as a constant term or constant value because it has a definite value which is approximately 3.14. Okay, next variable. It is a quantity whose value is changing. It can assume any real value. It usually represented by literal symbol. Okay, let's have first this simple activity. Here, you just have to observe the relationship between the variables. But for each item, I want you to identify first the dependent and independent variables. In mathematics, the dependent variable is usually denoted by letter Y. And the independent variable is usually denoted by variable X. So number 1, the dependent variable here is the salary, and the independent variable here is the number of working hours. Your salary will always depend on the independent variable, which is the number of working hours. Kaya siya tinawag na dependent variable kasi siya yung magdedepende. Magdedepende yung value niya sa independent variable. So sa number 1, magdedepende yung salary mo sa kung ilang oras ka nagtrabaho. And what do you think is the relationship between these two variables? The more number of hours you spend working, the higher the salary. Mas mataas yung magiging salary mo kung mataas din yung number of hours na pagtrabaho mo. Kung kukonti lang yung number of hours na pagtrabaho mo, konti din yung salary mo. Number 2, number of kilograms of rice and its price. So which one do you think is the dependent variable and which one is the independent variable? Obviously, the price is the dependent variable, while the number of kilograms of rice is the independent variable. The price will always depend on the number of kilograms of rice. The more number of kilograms of rice you buy, the higher the price. Siyempre, kung mas marami kang bibilhin na bigas, mas mataas din yung babayaran mo. Pero kung konti lang naman yung bibilhin yung bigas, konti lang yung babayaran nyo. I hope you're getting my point. Lastly, number 3, amount of electricity consumed and the electricity bill. The dependent variable here is the electricity bill, and the independent variable is the amount of electricity consumed. Kung grabe kayong mag-consume ng kuryente, mas mataas yung bayarin nyo sa kuryente. And these are just simple illustrations of what direct variation is. Okay, this time we're going to determine whether each table of values illustrates direct variation or not. Paano natin malalaman kung ang given na table of values ay nagpapakita ng direct variation between the two variables? Number 1, please observe the values. This given table of values illustrates direct variation. Bakit? Kasi habang tumataas yung values ng nasa variable x, tumataas din yung values ng nasa variable y. Number 2, this table of values does not show direct variation. Number 3, illustrates also direct variation. Pataas ng pataas yung values ng x, pataas din ng pataas yung values ng y. So, ganun lang kadali para ma-determine mo kung ang given table of values ba ay nagpapakita ng direct variation or hindi. Okay, let's come now to graph. Here, you just have to identify which graph illustrates direct variation. What does a graph of variables that are directly proportional with one another look like? Alin kaya dito sa mga graphs na ito ang nagpapakita ng direct variation? What do you think? It's letter B. So this graph illustrates direct variation. As the values in x-axis increases, the values in y-axis also increases. So ganyan palagi yung itsura ng graph ng variables na directly proportional with one another. Incline to the right. Okay, on this slide, I'll show you how to translate the following statements into equations. Number 1, the cost, which is denoted by lowercase letter c, of vegetable varies directly as the number of kilograms, both, which is denoted by lowercase letter n. So how are we going to translate this into equation? This is very easy. Here it is. The cost of vegetable, which is denoted by lowercase letter c, varies directly as the number of kilograms, both, denoted by lowercase letter n. These are now the two variables. And don't forget the constant term. So this is now the equation. Number 2, the amount of gasoline used in a trip, denoted by lowercase letter a, varies directly as the distance covered. How are we going to translate this into equation? You may try it in your notebook. So here it is. We have A equals D. Don't forget the constant term. So as simple as that. Number 3, the area of a circle denoted by lowercase letter a varies directly as the square of its radius. So we have here a varies directly as the square of its radius. So hindi lang basta r yung nandito kasi we have here square of its radius. It should be r square. Kaya merong 2 dito, square of its radius. And don't forget again the constant term. So that's how we translate statements into equations. But what if there are given values already? Just like in example number 1, if y varies directly as x, and y is 15 when x is equal to 3, find y if x is equal to 5. At first, you might find this confusing, but this is very easy. First, you need to make the equation. To make an equation, look at the first part of the sentence. This is the first part of this sentence. Dito nyo kukunin yung equation. How are we going to translate this into equation? It's y varies directly as x, and don't forget the constant term. So this is now the general equation of this example. Second is to find the constant or the value of k. To find the value of k, consider this time the second part of the sentence. Ito, y is 15 when x is equal to 3. So use the general equation, y equals kx. Substitute the given values to the equation. Y is 15 and x is 3. So we have to solve for k. And to do that, we have to apply the division property of equality. So divide both sides of the equation by 3. Therefore, k is equal to 5. Third and last one is to consider the last part of the sentence. Find y if x is equal to 5. So, ang hinahanap talaga dito ay ito. Usually, nasa last part siya ng sentence. Ang hinahanap talaga dito, in this case, is y. What is the value of y considering the value of x, which is 5, and considering also the computed constant term, which is 5. Copy the general equation, substitute the value of k. So we have y is equal to 5, and substitute also the given value in the last part of this sentence, which is 5. So we have 5. Take note that the operation here is multiplication. And you can now already find the value of y, which is 25. 5 times 5 is 25. This is now the answer in example number 1. Okay, let's have one more example. If y varies directly as x, and y is equal to 54 when x is equal to 9, find y if x is equal to 3. You may pause the video for a while and try to answer this on your own. Okay, let's answer example number 2. What is the equation? Y varies directly as x. We have y varies directly as x. Don't forget the constant. Find k. We have for y 54 equals k, x is 9. To get the value of k, divide both sides by 9. Cancel this out, therefore, k is equal to 6. Then for the last part, you are asked to find y if x is equal to 3. Copy the original equation, substitute the computed value of k, which is 6, multiply it by the given value of x, which is 3. Therefore, y is 18. This is now the answer in example number 2. So that's it.